At this time, I'd like to read a short biography on our first presenter. Mary Smith is a spoken word artist, educator, and fitness coach who holds a Bachelor's of Arts in English Education from the University of Belize. She's a full-time teacher at the Belmont Comprehensive School, where she is currently teaching integrated English and life skills. She's also an adjunct lecturer in the English department here at the University of Belize, and she's an active member of Spoken Word 501, which is a poetry collective based in Belize City. Her work is featured in the Latino Book Review, issue 2025, and in the upcoming 2026 anthology, Paz Colectiva. In 2025, Smith participated in the 4th Annual World Poetry Day Festival, where more than 400 poets from over 50 countries read more than 1,000 poems in a variety of languages. Ms. Mary Smith is also the owner of Get Senate Fitness, which focuses on the physical and mental wellness. She resides in Belmont City, where she organizes and hosts poetry events. Currently, she is working on her debut anthology, which will explore her journey of healing and growth. Please join me in welcoming Ms. Mary Smith.
I don't consider myself to be a religious person. I don't believe in turning the right cheek if my neighbor wrong me. I don't believe in relying solely on God to solve a problem. That's why we are blessed and highly favored with common sense. I don't believe that God will drop everything and place my wants and needs on my lap, because I do believe that I must take ownership of what I want. I must do the work to receive the rewards. I don't believe in blaming God or the devil for that matter, because consequences are the result of choices, despite the core of what I truly believe. I do trust a higher being that most of us refer to as God. And whenever there is a situation that I don't have any control over, I silently whisper, God, please let everything work out fine. Whenever there is something that makes me feel helpless, I silently whisper, God, please be the driver of this situation. Show me that everything will be all right. Now, I'm no archangel, but I do believe that whatever I ask for aligns in my best interest every single time, once I believe it wholeheartedly. And I must say, it has always worked out. So indeed, there is a higher power that lives in and around us. A higher power that gives us our wishes. A higher power that reminds us we must be intentional and deliberate with our thoughts, actions, and whispered prayers. Thank you, everyone, and welcome. I am Miriam Elizabeth, and my presentation will focus on healing. So it will take you on a journey of healing through words. Is for you guys. When was the last time you were able to resonate with someone's words and it kept replaying in your mind longer than expected? You don't have to answer me, just think about it for a second. Poetry is a part of our healing process. And in order for us to start healing, we must be honest with ourselves. We must be able to think about everything, ask ourselves the hard questions, have discussions. And once we do so, that's how we start being honest with ourselves. Remove the facade, which we're forced to become vulnerable. We're forced to strip away layers, which ultimately leads to healing. Every time I write a poem, it heals part of my soul I didn't realize needed healing. And then I pass it on as a gift. Healing is something personal. Healing is something that all of us must start doing. Like we heard in previous presentations, in order to heal, And now, let's continue on a journey of healing. Healing is a bridge between understanding the past and recognizing how it influences one's thought, process, and behavior. Now, the more we're able to understand our past, the more we're able to understand what our parents, grandparents, or ancestors endure and how all of this is embedded in our DNA, then we're able to actually start that process of healing. Understand why we do the things the way we do, why we think the way we do, why these systems are structured the way they are. And of course, once we make that step, then we're able to make adjustments in our behavior. Healing is about recognizing our thoughts, emotions, and behavior. Recognizing that these are all intertwined. Everything is connected. So the more we're able to understand our thought process, the way we think, then we're able to understand why we react to certain things, right? Why do we catch feelings for certain things? Why do we act a certain way when we're in different environments? Which, of course, then we understand our behavior, right, on a deeper level. Additionally, healing is about now understanding those learned behaviors, all right, recognizing how they are ingrained, which can negatively affect our overall well-being. Because so many of our behaviors, yes, they're ingrained in us, and some of it we don't even, it's like we don't think about it. We often hear people say, oh, that's just the way I am. That's just who I am. But why are you like that? And yes, it's because of, one, the trauma we've endured. Two, our environment. So all of that influence our behavior. But when we're able to understand and recognize these things, then we're able to transform pain into art, which is beautiful. And that's how we start healing. And like the Queen states, poetry, like a true companion and friend, beckons us to embrace and offer solace and healing in times of unspeakable trials, moments of trauma, war, and eventual peace. And I couldn't agree with that bit more, because indeed, poetry is like a best friend, like a companion, where you're able to peel away layers and be completely honest and vulnerable, where you're able to have that hard conversation, so everything you're thinking, everything you're experiencing, you write it down, and that's the power of healing through words. Now, how do I heal? How does poetry heal? Well, every time I write a poem, it heals part of myself that I did not realize healing. All layers stripped away. Writing poems have become my sanctuary, where my notebook is the church. My pen preaches my uncomfortable thoughts. My words flow in prayers and unity. Poetry is my religion. Poetry heals me. Poetry gives me peace. Poetry is my peace. And now I will be taking you all on a personal journey of how poetry has helped heal me. This piece is entitled Shiro, and it's dedicated to all the ladies in the room. Women are the Alpha and Omega. We complete the world and bring balance to everything we touch. And I can say the same for men. But right now, the focus is on women. Nora Parham is a stark reminder of what happens when women are pushed their limits. When when they are abused for too long and the system ignores their plight and so take matters into their own hands. Nora Param is a name that every household knows. But what happens when our inner Nora P wakes up and history repeats? An eye for an eye will eventually make the world go blind. Hurt people, but trauma cannot be confused with strength. While I do understand the extent of trauma, I also understand that triggers are our responsibility. As women, we are unstoppable. Recognize the power we hold as the glue holding together homes, schools, and the workplace. Society is crumbling and we must act now. Activate our superhero. But first, we must stop blaming our past, stop blaming our environment, which can be influential, but doesn't excuse our behavior. And only then will we be able to take accountability and heal the wounds that hinder progress. So, are you proud of the life you're currently living? Have you activated the superhero within? Thank you. This piece is entitled Why I Write, which is pretty self-explanatory. Sometimes life becomes a bit exhausting, where I feel like I'm running a marathon and the finish line seems out of reach. So I pause and write. Sometimes I don't want to adult. I don't want to take on everything that's wrong with the world. I just want peace. So I pause and write. Sometimes everything is going as expected, and it seems like it's too good to be true. And then those little voices in my head nudge me. Hey, at any moment you can fall from cloud 9. So I pause and write. Sometimes everything is perfect, even though I'm conditioned to believe nothing is. When in my world I do experience perfection, even if it's only for 2 minutes. So I pause and write. Sometimes everything, nothing, something is in and out of order, perfectly perfect, and happily happy, yet overwhelmingly sad. So I pause and write, and pause and write, and it becomes a revolving door of a beautiful roller coaster we all refer to as life. And then I pause, write, smile, and write again. Thank you. This piece is entitled, I Delete You, and a few days later we're back in sync. And this focuses on the process of healing and the fact that it requires us to embrace imperfections. You are a revolving door of toxicity. You make me feel better. You hide my flaws and scars. You tell me it's not there, and I believe it. But deep down, I can still see and feel that. But I love the way you gas me up. You hide all my insecurities. You make me feel more beautiful, even if it's only for a second. You're back again for a few important events. You repeat the sweet nothings that I've grown accustomed to. In fact, at this point, I'm more addicted to you. I love when you remove and add what doesn't even exist, yet I embrace it all like it's my reality, even if it's only 5 seconds of fame on the internet. You appear and disappear. I'm addicted to the adrenaline rush and serotonin boost. This cycle continues. Until finally I broke free and delete you permanently. Yes, you filter, Instagram filter, TikTok filter, and all those filters. I am no longer washing my images in your disillusionment. Today, I embrace imperfections. Focus on healing, which serve as a reminder that healing is messy. Alright? And there will be times when we find ourselves in situations where our healing process is put to the test. Alright? And it is entitled Emotional Intelligence. My brain collapsed. Logical thinking evaporates. My past creeps up and familiar behavior inserts themselves. My healing process is put to the test. I fail horribly. Everything I have been practicing overshadows these familiar storylines. My past scars blind me, he explains. Logic and comprehension fail. He explains again. But I'm too angry to listen. He helps me tide, but my past traumas agitate me deeply. Despite my belligerent behavior, he doesn't give up. He holds me tighter and proceeds to explain for the umpteenth time. Boy, was I wrong. He doesn't give up. He holds me tighter and tighter, even though my ego tells him to let go. My soul and body doesn't want him to comply. He holds me, he helps me tighter and tighter and tighter, and shows me solid proof that contradicted my irrational conclusion. Finally, I am whole. And this piece is entitled Strength, which is inspired by recent events where I am reminded that vulnerability is a superpower. Lady Merriam-Webster states that strength is the power to resist force. It's toughness. My family and friends would probably describe me as a woman of strength. When death knocked on my dad's home, but thankfully he wasn't at home to answer. When my dog was burnt alive in my childhood home, I showed great strength. I buried all these events deeply. I was angry, but the world will never know because I am not one to wear my problems on my sleeve. Resiliency has always been my superpower, but I'm realizing now that this strength is a ruse. I'm learning that the reason I tear up during movies is because of all the emotions that I suppress under the depths of the Belizean loophole. I buried them the way our dog was burned alive, brutal and deep, and nobody would ever discover these bodies of traumas unless I opened the door into my sacred world. But today, I woke up face to face with all these emotions. Everything came rushing down and I felt as though I'm standing underneath a waterfall, tears gushing endlessly. Today, I am reminded that there is strength in vulnerability. This piece focuses on a reminder that healing requires shedding of old patterns that no longer serve our version, the version that we're constantly working on, that healed version of ourselves. And it is called regrowth. I am tired of the constant power struggle and internal fights. I know who is in control, but my nonchalant attitude usually wins because that's my superpower. But the harsh truth is, that's my biggest demon. I try to be still like Buddha, but that stillness turns into a mental prison that sentences my mind and extends into weeks and sometimes months. That stillness turns into subliminal unconsciousness. My nervous system breaks down and my body needs resuscitation. This cycle is a TikTok reel on replay. Some days it gets worse, some days it gets better, but the lack of living in the moment paralyzes with you because I know who I am and you are not a part of my present and future. You may have overstayed your time in my past, but today it's over. Today, I'm stepping into my purpose. I take accountability for my actions. I reset my nervous system, and today balance is seen in my daily action and no longer something that is out of reach. I set ablaze and set free that crippling stagnation of excuses, finger pointing, and mediocrity. I set ablaze and set free my Ike and Tina relationship with you, toxic work culture, and all your ripple effects that have disrupted my peace for far too long. Today, I welcome a life of bliss, beauty, and balance. Turn off my thoughts and endless spiral that keeps me on my toes. I need to take control. God knows there's no peace and so many tasks that I haven't completed. And then it clicks. My wits are no longer scripted. We remain authentically rooted, regardless of judgments and misconceptions, living intentionally and loving without limitations, remaining in a buoyant mood and asserting our needs. We are stronger than those few minutes of self-sabotage. We are the shaper of our thoughts, taking charge of our lives. You, me, Jaja, the universe, we're all connected. Every choice a ripple effect. Karma, they call it. No, it's the democracy of consequences. Soul searching and introspectiveness. Yeah, we have grounded ourselves. There's a new realization. We are lighter and in harmony with nature. We are connected to the core of our being, though we may sometimes forget our guiding compass. Let's take a deep breath together. Strip away the layers. One more deep breath. Exhale slowly. Who are you? Who are you? And when the world asks, who are you? May you respond from the most healed version of yourself. Thank you so much. Thank you to everyone.